Oh, yeah. What is up, folks? Welcome to Last Minute Betting with the Sports Nuts powered by OddsJam, the premier odds comparison company for sports bettors worldwide. Go to oddsjam.com/subscribe. You want to get some money off? Use the code BOB20 to get 20% off. Do that now. You can do that right now. And don't forget about the BetBucket picks. I have been on fire. Oh, I'm on fire. Oh, it's true.
It's damn true.
Oh, yeah. I had the Bills yesterday, had the Chargers last night. On fire, baby. Should have put 5 units on each one of them. And if you're not a believer, go and get the 7-day free trial. You'll be a believer. 2 anytime touchdown scorers yesterday. My hockey wasn't as good yesterday, but NFL was great. Great game. Chargers and Bengals. Just an absolute great game. What's up, Tristan? How you doing, my friend? And I got to tell you, when you win a game that you were up 27-6, and remember, the Chargers lost a playoff game a couple of years ago where they were up by 20-something points and lost. But they didn't lose this game. I mean, Jim Harbaugh's seen it all throughout the years, whether he's coached it in the actual game or not. He's seen about everything that can happen in the NFL. And you know what? I just think he has the demeanor and the intensity and the positive attitude. I think he's coaching as good as he's ever coached, ever, with this team. Thoughts?
Oh yeah. No, I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, I love, because if you recall, like when we were first talking about the possibility of Jim Harbaugh going to Chargers, at first I was kind of worried because I'm like, well, I don't know. He was in college. I want Bill Belichick. I think that was the right move to go with Harbaugh instead of Belichick because I love his scheme. His scheme has been great, but I'm still not sold on the Chargers, though.
Okay. All right. Well, you cannot be sold. And listen to Tristan. Imagine having Burrow, Chase, and Higgins on your fantasy team. Oh, wait, I do.
I did too. So.
Well, that's good. Imagine, though, that you start all 3 of them and they have a bad offensive day, although they haven't had one this year. The Bengals' offense has not been the problem. It's been their defense. Yeah, that's great, man. That's great.
Good. Yeah, no, absolutely. It definitely is the defense, but I don't know, man. I think that was a game that we should have won, not easily, but it should have been we were undoubtedly the better team. But I don't think.
Yeah, but when you turn over the ball, that's what's going to happen. Let's face it, man. Justin Herbert has put the ball on the ground a few times. He does have some fumble issues. Okay. Now
he doesn't fumble that often.
The pass he made to McConkey that he overthrew him on, I attest that to the fact that he's thrown to a smaller receiver. If that's Keenan Allen there, that's a first down.
Oh yeah.
So adjusting, and nobody knew that Ladd McConkey was going to be such an integral part of this team, right?
Well, he's a rookie, so we didn't know. We don't. I don't think it's we don't think, it's we don't know what he was going to be. So, like I said, it's just I can't see this team reaching the goal, which is should be to be back in the AFC Championship game, because Ladd McConkey and Quentin Johnston, they have exceeded expectations, but like next year, if they go in the season with them as the 1 and 2 wide receivers, like that's just no. You can't do that. You gotta next year we better have an AJ Brown or somebody of that caliber on this team. Is the wide receiver 1. Like, I don't know who we can get next year. It's really going to depend. Maybe is DK Metcalf's deal coming up soon? I don't like. He'd be great to have on the Chargers. T. Higgins, Devontae Smith, somebody of that caliber. Somebody.
Okay. I know how receiver heavy you are, so.
It's the second most important position on the football field. I'm telling you,
it's not. I've never heard anybody ever say that, ever.
Okay, well, let me ask you this though. So you can't pass block without an offensive line. You can't run block without an offensive line. But if you have good pass protection, can you throw the ball with high school wide receivers?
High school wide receivers? Who's got high school wide receivers on their team? Yeah, name me that.
The Chargers. The Chargers. Like Quentin Johnston is
He's
not
a high school receiver.
Quentin Johnston is not worthy of being a wide receiver.
He's not a high school receiver. You cannot make a statement like that without having facts, and that is not a fact.
Last year he was playing like one. Last year he was playing like a high school receiver.
He was playing like a rookie. Not everybody. You know what? I do a radio show in Illinois.
Yeah.
And my brother's on the show with me today. And we're talking. All right. The one thing that people don't understand is that it used to not be that every fucking quarterback that was drafted had to start the first damn year. And not every wide receiver that was drafted high had to start. Usually those guys had to, you know what? They had to pay a few dues. They didn't get on the field right away. You know, some of these guys weren't ready. In the case of Quentin Johnston, who did he have there to mentor him? You know, the Chargers let Keenan Allen go. You don't think that Keenan Allen? Let me ask you this right now. You think Keenan Allen is, thinking that he might have made a mistake with going to the Bears, considering where the Chargers are at? Because if they had Keenan Allen right now, they would be a team to be reckoned with.
Yeah, that's why I feel like they gave up on him a year too early. Maybe next year, that's when they should have maybe pulled the plug on Keenan Allen, but not. That's why, no receivers. You can't have that. You cannot win a Super Bowl.
Weeks is here. We haven't talked since they revoked that surcharge for Vermont and those other states. They knew it would cost them so much action and people would go elsewhere. That's probably true, Sneak. That's probably true.
Probably.
Let's talk about the big game of the day, which was the Bills and Chiefs. Definitely, I picked the Bills. I had the Chargers yesterday in my picks. I had the Bills in my picks for my VIPs. I wasn't going wrong yesterday. I mean, the Bills were a hammer spot. Hammer, baby.
Yeah, that was a good call. To me, it felt like a 50-50 game, but whenever it's a 50-50 game, I always go with Patrick Mahomes. So, but yeah, Josh Allen showed up. And hey, I got to say this. I haven't heard Randall talk about the Bills in a long time because, he came on, he was ripping us about, Amari Cooper trashed this, Josh Allen trashed this. Where's Randall at right now?
I might be in his recliner. I don't know. I don't know.
There you go.
I don't know. I mean, I've always liked Josh Allen. Allen has had a tendency to make mistakes. He's another quarterback that puts the ball on the ground. He has a tendency to do that. As big as he is and as strong as he is, he does have a tendency to put the ball on the ground. So you hate seeing that, but so and I hate to tell you this, okay? Because I'm going to point this out to you right now, okay? Because you said Herbert doesn't really fumble, and that's not true. He's got 26 fumbles in his career. Okay. So he loses the ball. He has problems hanging on to the football when people hit him. And it usually happens when he's trying to make something happen. Okay. But when he goes down to the ground, he's got to do a much better job of protecting the ball than he did last night. Because he's not a running back and he doesn't know how to hold that ball and cup it like a running back.
Well, problem is he's trying to make too big a play with not any receivers.
Now, that's not true either, because the majority of his fumbles are in the pocket. That had nothing to do with the receivers. That, you know what? Sometimes he's got to run. If he's going to be a quarterback in the NFL, in the modern day NFL, he's going to have to run the ball a little bit. He's going to have that threat.
He did that like the whole game last game.
I know. That's because Harbaugh saw that and got him going down that road. But Harbaugh ain't fixed his fumble problem. And I hate to tell you this, but your quarterback there has a fumble problem. Okay? 26 fumbles in 5 years, less than 5 years, is not good. That's an average of 5 fumbles a year. I know.
Josh Allen does too.
I already said that earlier.
And he's been to an AFC championship.
Okay. He's got the skills to overcome it. He's a much better runner than Herbert.
Well, yeah, sure. He's had way better supporting cast than Herbert. And better receivers.
I don't disagree with that, although, Herbert did have, Austin Eckler was a touchdown machine a couple of years ago, and, they had Keenan Allen there. It's not like the difference now is that they got both lines playing good. That's the difference. Okay. That's the reason the Chargers are where they are at. And you know what? It's the reason the Bills are where they're at, because their defensive line and their offensive line are playing better. Arguably, offensive line. Very important.
The Bills and Chargers offensive line was a top unit back when Herbert and Josh Allen were starting out and throughout.
Chargers offensive line was never a top offensive line.
In Justin Herbert's sophomore year, it was. They had Corey Linsley and Rashawn Slater came afterwards. They were a good offensive line in his sophomore year. It's when Brandon Staley's second year, that's when it started to go downhill.
I'm going to beg to differ. I've never seen that team with a good offensive line. I'll tell you what. Let me tell you how long it's been.
Was good.
Let me tell you how long it's been since I think they had a good offensive line. Back when Stan Humphries took them to the Super Bowl. I've never known that team to have a good offensive line. I've always thought they sucked.
It's Herbert's sophomore year. They got a bunch of free agents. Corey Linsley, who's an awesome center.
But that doesn't mean that they play together.
Okay, let's
just because you were a free agent, from another team and play good there, offensive line, man, they got to be in tune with each other. If they're not, it screws everything up.
No question, but it's just saying they were good at one point. They were top 10 in the league. And actually, Rashawn Slater was on that team. They had Corey Linsley, Rashawn Slater, Matt Feeler, and Storm Norton. Yeah, he was just a fill-in role. They also had Michael Schofield. I forgot about those guys. And they were also of a very good offense that year, but it just came to fruition that Brandon Staley can't coach.
Well, they also didn't have a good defense too. See, there's the other side of the ball. You have to have a good defensive line, and it can't just be Joey Bosa. You got to have tackles.
Oh, yeah.
You got to have tackles. If you ain't got tackles that can stop the run, forget it. Now let's move on. I'm done talking about this stuff. Bottom line is Justin Herbert puts the ball on the ground too damn much. Bottom line is one of the reasons they're doing as well as they are is because they have Alt is going to be a superstar, by the way, on offensive line.
Probably, yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Ravens, Steelers, and really let's talk about the Ravens. You mean to tell me that Derrick Henry's only getting the ball 13 times?
Well,
I got a problem with this.
You can't give it to him 25 times every game, though. I mean,
oh really? Oh no shit, huh? You can't.
What? No, you can't.
He can touch the ball 25 times, 20 from scrimmage and 5 in the passing game. Bullshit. Marshall Faulk did it. LaDainian Tomlinson did it.
In their primes.
Marshall Faulk was doing it before Steven Jackson came along, dude. In his later years, give them the ball. The longer they get, the more they get the ball, the more chances there are for them to make a play. You have a top-notch running back, and you're only giving him the ball 13 times. I don't know what's wrong with John Harbaugh. I guess he wants Lamar Jackson to be the star. But you know what? Lamar ain't cutting it.
What do you mean he's not cutting? They're like one of the top teams in the league. It was a divisional game yesterday.
I don't care. Should have beat the Steelers. Steelers' offense is terrible.
Their defense is
very good. It's not the number one scoring defense in the NFL. That was the Chargers before yesterday. As a matter of fact, 3 out of the top 5 scoring defenses in the NFL this year are the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Broncos. And speaking of which, evidently nobody wanted to listen to me about the Broncos against the Falcons because there's no reason to take the Falcons in that game. Kirk Cousins going to get his ass kicked, and he did. We were right.
We were right about that. I picked the Broncos with you. I think was Mike on the Falcons.
Yes. Every time they underrun Henry, they lose. Henry has had 20 plus carries his whole life. Oh my goodness, Justin, that was a horrible take.
What the Derrick Henry?
I'm sorry, dude. You're wrong. Give him the ball 20 times.
Okay, I just looked this up. You mentioned Marshall Faulk. Okay, Marshall Faulk, he was on the Colts and the Rams, right? He was in the league in his prime, 1,000-yard seasons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Okay. Derrick Henry. Now let me look up Derrick Henry's stats. He's been in the league 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 years. He is getting to that age where Marshall Faulk fell off a cliff.
He's playing great. Two completely different kinds of running backs. You cannot compare. Hang on.
Exactly.
This is the guy you give the ball more to because he's a horse. It's like giving it to Larry Zonka. It's like a fullback coming at you full speed. It's like a tight end hitting you in the fucking chest, man. Sorry, you're wrong. And PhD is right. Every time they give him the ball, he's been doing it for years. He can handle it. And he's probably the best running back out there.
That's exactly why it's a problem, though. If you don't give him the ball like 100 times a game, you're going to lose. So you got to find other ways to win games. That's a problem because eventually you're going to have to do something different. You're going to go up against a team. Yeah.
In this particular case, both times they've done this year, they've lost. Quit doing that. Give the guy the ball, especially in the fourth quarter. Why would you not just pound it down their throat?
Because they're down. You don't want to run the ball when you're down.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl, the St. Louis Rams beat the Tennessee Titans in. They were up, 16-0? You know, Tennessee came back and tied that game, right? And then Warner made the big pass to Bruce. Do you know what the Titans did? They ran the ball to Eddie George. They ran the ball down the Rams' throat to get back in the game. That's the problem. You got all these young guys with their great offensive minds that are not thinking. The same thing happened to the Rams
that
in
was the wrong
2001.
idea. That was the wrong
Same thing
idea.
happened to the Rams in 2001. They didn't run Marshall in the Super Bowl. They lost. Come on, dummies.
Yeah.
Give the ball to a guy like that.
Well, the Tennessee Titans game, that was not the right idea, because if they were throwing the ball just as efficiently, maybe they would have won the game. And then he was like, what, a yard from the end zone on the last play.
I'm sorry, but we got people out here that are totally disagreeing with you. And
they're wrong.
It opens up play action.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. But what I'm saying to you is that, you can't, like Josh Allen in his third year when they played against the Chiefs. You were wondering, like, oh, why did he not throw the ball more? Why is he not why are they running? Because they know, game planning wise, if they throw the ball with Josh Allen 40 times a game, it's going to be too easy to defend at some point. Somebody's going to figure out you got to do something else. You got to have a system. Yes, it opens up for Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson also opens up for Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry would not be playing as good as he's playing right now without Lamar Jackson.
Did you not watch him in Tennessee?
Did I? Wait, what?
Did you not watch him in Tennessee? Well, Lamar Jackson wasn't there. Lamar Jackson ain't got nothing to do with Derrick Henry running the ball. Derrick Henry run the ball. It don't matter.
It has everything to do with
he had Tannehill in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Did Tannehill open up the game for Derrick Henry? No, Derrick Henry opened up the game for Tannehill. That's the way it works.
Derrick Henry couldn't
work in reverse.
Derrick Henry couldn't do anything with Marcus Mariota.
The running back opens up the game.
Hell.
Justin, the running back opens up the game for the passing game, not reverse. Only if you are a pass-happy only offense does that work in reverse. If you were the Rams of the 2000s, and you started out running the ball instead of passing, then I would agree with you. Not when there's Derrick Henry there. Derrick Henry needs the ball 20 to 25 times a game.
Well, if he gets injured, then I'm going to point to you and say that that's the reason why it happened.
That's part of it, man. That's just part of the game.
But he's old. He's old.
He's not really old, man.
29 for running backs is old.
I was just looking at Marshall's stats throughout his career and how many years he played, and he still was putting over 200 carries up in 2002, 2003.
Yeah, in 2002 and 2000.
That's 200 carries, dude. Okay, that's a lot of carries. And he wasn't even playing full time. This guy's a full-time running back. And they're right. Did you see him on the sidelines? He wanted in that game so bad. I think that's twice it's happened. If it happens again and they lose, I'll tell you what. If he carries the ball 13 times again and they lose, will you come to the conclusion that he needs to get the ball more?
Well, if they give him 13 carries the next game, who do they play next?
They play the Chargers.
Well, Chargers are very good run defense, right? I think they have a pretty stout front seven. But if they're playing a game coming up where they got bad run defense and they only give him 13 carries, then I'm going to say, like, that's terrible coaching. Jim Harbaugh's got to get his crap together. No duh. But what I'm saying to you is that you got to do something else. And Lamar Jackson, do you know when a quarterback hands the ball off to the running back, do you know what their job is in that scenario? Can you name me what they are responsible to do when the coach calls a running play with the running back?
I mean, what are you asking me? He's going to hand the ball when the coach calls into play. The quarterback's going to look at the defense, and if the defense is lined up to stop that play, he's going to audible out of it.
Well, okay, you could say that, but no, what I was thinking is, and what I know is, he is responsible for being a threat to, like so yesterday, TJ Watt. He's responsible for taking TJ Watt out of the play. Because it's complicated. It's complicated to explain.
You're talking about Lamar Jackson. TJ Watt's got you're talking about the read option.
Well,
that's what you're talking about. Not every play's a read option. Okay.
Not every play, but it's like when you have Derrick Henry running the ball, you want TJ Watt as far away as possible.
Well, I know that. I realize that.
Yeah. Okay. So Lamar Jackson, being the mobile quarterback he is, he's going to take them away from the play. So he has a big role in that running game.
And if that's the case, if he's going to take them away from the play, then do it and hand the ball to Henry. Jesus Christ. That's simple. It doesn't matter. That's just a read option play. Bottom line is hand the ball off to the stud. Okay. He's still a stud. By the way, who leads the league in rushing?
I do not know.
I mean, I'm just curious.
Me too, actually.
Okay, let's look this up. Oh, hold on. Who is it? It's Derrick Henry.
Well, yeah, for running backs,
that's who we're talking about. Who's number 2? Saquon Barkley. How many TDs does Derrick Henry have? 13. Any other running backs in double figures? Yep, James Cook and David Montgomery.
Yeah, 13. Well, because he's been getting extreme heavy volume.
He should. That's exactly. You know how many carries Saquon Barkley's got? 197. The exact same amount as Derrick Henry. And he has 8 touchdowns. Right. Here's the other thing I want to point out to you. Derrick Henry, all right, you ready for this? This is going to blow your mind. Derrick Henry has 13 runs of 20-plus yards. The only other one that's close to him is Barkley with 10. You saw what an over 20-yard run could do last night, didn't you? Dobbins with a 29-yarder to win the game.
That was a bad play.
It doesn't matter. I'm saying Derrick Henry, out of all the running backs in the league, is the one guy that can break it big, dude. He's proved it. He has 3 yards of 3 runs of 40-plus yards, and he's got an 87 of his longest.
Okay, so here's my only point, though. So would you say, well, first off, before I actually do move on to that run by J.K. Dobbins was bad. He could have cost the Chargers the game right there. But I digress.
Did he get in the end zone? That's all that matters.
No, that was the bad play. He should have gotten down, sat or get out of bounds.
Bullshit.
Not bullshit. They gave the Bengals 18 seconds on the clock.
Who cares?
What if
Bengals were done at that moment? They were done.
They scored 24 unanswered points.
I don't care. They were still done. It was after that touchdown. It was done. They weren't going to have a miracle. They don't have anybody that can throw a Hail Mary like Aaron Rodgers. And speaking of Aaron Rodgers, let's talk about the Jets. They suck.
Yeah, no question.
They're absolutely terrible. I'm so disappointed in the way they played, and I don't even want to pick a Jets game again.
Yeah, me neither. Every time I pick them, they lose.
I mean, it's terrible. By the way, Ravens at the Chargers. I'm staying away from that game this week.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one to pick. But I got a feeling the Ravens are gonna win that one.
Oh yeah, I think so too. No two ways about it. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly there, brother.
If they can be competitive with the Ravens and maybe win by, or they only win by a field goal, then that's going to go a long way. But I don't know about that. Anyways, though, back to the Ravens. So would you say the Ravens, the only way they're going to be able to get to the Super Bowl is because of Derrick Henry?
Yep.
Right. I would agree with you too. Because, and last year, they did exactly what you said you hated. They never gave Gus Edwards the ball in the NFC Championship, right?
Yes.
Right. So if you don't have Derrick Henry for the AFC Championship game, they're not going to win. More than likely.
That's not necessarily true, but more than likely. Here's the thing. Here's what you're trying to set up, Justin. You're trying to set yourself up with a bye. Okay? You need that bye. You got Derrick Henry. You said he's been a running back that's been in the league for a while. You're absolutely right. You need a bye to have that week off. You're screwing yourself. And if you lose this next week, you're really screwed. You better give the ball to Derrick Henry this next week, or you're going to get your ass kicked again.
Yeah, they probably will. They probably realize that they can't do that. They got to rely a little more on him. But if they rely too much on him, there could be problems. I'm just saying.
13 carries is not the way to do it. And any coach that's worth his weight would tell you that. And I guarantee you, John Harbaugh's probably looked at the stats after the game and going, why in the heck didn't we get him the ball more? He's probably talking to his offensive coordinator about it. You know, I mean, I guarantee he is. All right, let's look at the EV page and see if we can find anything coming. By the way, one more time, the Jets are terrible. There's a lot of terrible teams, but you know that in the AFC there are only 7 teams, 7 that are over 500.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That's it.
the AFC
It's all the playoff teams. Everybody else is below 500.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I thought the AFC was going to be a huge juggernaut.
No, and the NFC actually has 6 teams that are under 500, and the rest are 500 or better.
Right. Yeah. Wow, that's
crazy, isn't it?
Well, it is.
The NFC West is the Cardinals at 6-4, and the other 3 teams at 5-5.
Oh yeah.
Yep. All right. How about Doug McDermott over 9.5 points tonight, bro? I'm gonna hit it.
Okay.
It's a 52% probability. Siakam under 8.5 rebounds is a 60.7% probability. I do like jumping on probability. I have started using that a lot more in my EV, and it is turned into, it's turned into money. I can tell you that right now. Let me shift this over to the NFL because I know everybody's looking for NFL plays. If you turn the recommended filters off, you go to league and you just click on NFL, and we will make this. We'll start off with player props. Let's make this 42 maximum market width. Jake Ferguson under 3.5 receptions. How about this one? Cooper Rush under, not to have a rushing. Oh, this is a passing touchdown.
Yeah.
Better stay away from that. Rico over 3.5 receptions. I like Nico Collins better here. We'll take that over 5.5. Cooper Rush over 1.5 player rushing attempts. I can do that. Joe Mixon on receiving yards over 18.5. I like that play too.
I don't know. And I'm not saying that just because we've had disagreement about Joe Mixon.
Okay. I knew you were going to be against a Joe Mixon play. I already knew it.
Schematically, you might have a tough time with that one, but we'll see what happens.
I mean, what do you mean schematically?
Because, okay, so who's favored in that game?
The Texans are the favorite.
Right. So if they get up by a lot of points, they're not going to be throwing Joe Mixon the ball. They're going to be running the ball with Joe Mixon. So and the Cowboys stink.
Okay, but he could wind up getting that on one play.
You're hoping for that to happen. So,
I've seen it happen too many times throughout the years. One play. I used to do the fantasy football thing too, man.
Yeah.
So, I've seen it happen time and time again. How about the Texans under 25.5? I'm going to take it.
You take it if you want, but
well, it's a 53% probability. It's minus 110. It's normal juice.
I wonder why the books are favoring it. Huh?
I wonder why. You know what? I think maybe the Cowboys being at home and the fact that they haven't won, there are people out there that think they're going to win tonight. I'm not one of them.
Me neither. No.
But anyway, all right, we digress. We're done here. We've had an interesting show, even though nobody agreed with you, but it's okay.
They're wrong. That's okay. Fine. I'm surprised Randall's not in here giving me crap about Aaron Rodgers.
Well, let's face it, not looking good. Not looking good.
I had a comeback against him. I was gonna.
Well, it's too late for that.
Well, I'll tell you off the air then, I guess.
See you, folks.